you one of those people who have continuously tried so much for your hair and still you have suffered from hair fall every now and then? I was one of that person, and to some extent I still am. Today I'm going to share my experience with all of you regarding the battle that I've had with hair fall. So, before we begin with the primary cause of what caused my hair fall, I would like to discuss from the start. So, in the beginning, it was the year 2013. I noticed that I had severely lost my hair, and especially in the crown area, and it was clearly visible during when I was walking under the sun. So every time I would walk outside, my friends would notice that my hair was thinning in this area, and it was obviously hurting me because everybody else, all of my friends, they had beautiful hair, and my hair was already falling in my 20s. And I remember that I would just let it go. I thought that it was normal at that time. So I would just ignore them, and I would only focus on what I could do to stop those hair fall. So I used to look at YouTube videos, and I would take people's suggestions, and I would create all these homemade remedies. Sometimes I would apply onion juice, sometimes henna, sometimes ginger paste, and everything. So nothing was working, and it was during one festival when I was clicking pictures. I realized that the middle part of my hair, it was completely gone, and it was more visible in the picture because normally I cannot see what's on top of my head, but in the picture it was clearly visible, and I could see that it was a severe problem and I needed to see a specialist fast. So I had these coupons, which my mother got when she went to a function, and she got these coupons of a dermatologist, and I thought that if I could use those coupons I could save extra money. So I went to that same dermatologist, and that dermatologist looked at my hair and she said that I have alopecia. And for those of you who don't know, alopecia is a disease where your hair falls continuously, and she suggested that I need to use minoxidil for my hair fall so that it will control my hair fall. And she also suggested me to do PRP. So it is a process where they inject plasma rich platelets into your head, so you have to go through several injections in your head. She suggested that, and I was like, okay, let's do it, I have no other choice. So the total price was around 10,000 Nepalese rupees for everything, and for the extra medicine it was 5,000. So I would pay around 15,000 every month to that clinic. And later I realized that it was an expensive clinic. In the initial stage, they would call me every month, they would check on me, but I remember that after a certain period they stopped calling. I don't know why, maybe they got new customers or something like that, but they stopped calling and I stopped going as well because it was extremely expensive procedure for me. And then I shifted to a clinic nearby my home, and I realized that the PRP there was less expensive. The cost of the PRP was around, I guess, PRP and microneedling, it was around 4,000, which was much cheaper compared to the previous clinic. And so I went there and I tried all this microneedling. So I did that every month, and I could see visible change in my head, and the hair was growing back. And I said, okay, so I'll continue this. But also I couldn't continue that for a longer period of time because again it was expensive and my hair was still falling. Minoxidil, if I stopped, it was still falling. I wasn't seeing a lot of change afterwards. In the initial stage I could see that my hair was filling the crown area. However, the change stopped. So I stopped going to that clinic. Later, um, it wasn't a hair fall which made me go to the same dermatologist. I started having rash all over my body, and that rash, I thought it was normal. At first I did not, I did not do anything about it. Later I realized that it was spreading all over my body. I used to have this red rashes around my body, and it was itching all the time. So because I severely itched my skin, it was bruised and wounded, and blood would start coming out. So I went to the same dermatologist where I had gone to see check my hair fall. So what he said was, it is normal, and it would stop after, the skin itching, the rash would go after a month. It's nothing to be worried about. And he gave me some ointment. I used the ointment and it disappeared. All the rashes in my body disappeared. So I was convinced that okay, so it's normal. But later again, as soon as I stopped the ointment, the rash would return back, and it worried me. So every time I would see the doctor, he would add something more to the prescription, and I would apply the ointment. I take the medicine, the rash would completely disappear whenever I took the medicine. But as soon as I stopped taking those medicines, the rash would return back. So my mother suggested to take a blood test and see what was going on in the body. And I said the same to the dermatologist, but he disagreed. He said it's nothing serious, it will take time, but it will soon go away. But it did not go away. So I decided to again shift from him to another hospital. And there, the dermatologist, what he said was, as soon as I looked at the rashes, he said that I fail to recognize these rashes. I'm still having doubts, so I will also let you take those, blood tests and see what is going inside your body. So when I received the result, I was completely shocked. I was suffering from hypothyroidism. My TSH level was around 20, whereas the minimum and maximum, the threshold should be between 0 to 4 approximately. So after that, I started taking thyroid medicine, and my rash completely disappeared. I realized that thyroid could be one of the cause for my hair fall, but I failed to uh, look at it from that perspective. I was completely ignoring that something could be wrong inside my body, and I was entirely focused on putting things from the scalp. And so I did almost everything, every home remedy out there, every advice, I took seriously. But as soon as I realized that the thyroid was the main cause behind it, it made me look at things from another perspective. So I'm still on my thyroid pills. I cut my hair recently to, it was really long and it was curly, but it was brittle as well, and it was dry and it was matted together. So I decided to cut everything off, and this is what is left. But these days I don't suffer from any hair fall, maybe because I don't have much hair left. But I decided that I need to focus on the thickness of my hair rather than the length. So I decided to cut it short. Remember guys, that if you are suffering from hair fall and you have tried everything, then maybe the problem is inside. When I was going through YouTube, one of the videos I looked into, someone told me that hair fall is a symptom to a disease. It is not a disease. So remember, if you're suffering from hair fall, it might be a symptom that there is something wrong with your body, and you need to look at something other than your hair, you know and I had all these symptoms. My weight was always fluctuating. I would gain a lot of pounds, and every time I tried to lose them, I would lose those pounds but again gain it back. So the my weight was constantly fluctuating, my hair was always falling. So I ignored all those symptoms, And this is a very important point. If you are suffering from hair fall, please have your blood test done rather than just focusing on your body externally. Look at it internally. And if you want to know more about my hair regrowth journey, then please subscribe to my channel, and thank you.